Well, here we go again, and as you can see, I have a wonderful new setting. I will use my favorite expression again, one of my favorite expressions. While the cat's away, the mice will play, and Sarah's out and I'm using her room. And so, let me see. Okay, oh, thank you guys so much. I'm looking at a paper filled with some of your questions. I wish I could answer all of them, but so many of you responded, and I'm so grateful. And as you know, I love to answer you guys online, so I will be answering the ones I don't do here, and these I will be answering online. So anyway, let's get right to it. So let me see. Jimmy Odom said, what's your favorite video with Timmy? That is an easy one. My absolute favorite video that I've ever done with Timmy, and one of my absolute favorite videos ever that I've done, is called Awkward Poop Stories. And I did it on Timmy's channel over 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, before I even thought of starting my own channel. And he had me as a guest. So if you haven't seen it, watch it, because it is pretty funny. It's my life story. I have had many accidents, and I tell about them. Anyway, Jacob Montgomery said, how long have you had your current hairstyle? Well, this is what I was born with. So actually my whole life I was just born with naturally curly hair, which I used to hate with a passion as I was growing up, because when I was growing up, the in thing was to have long straight hair. It was the hippie days of the hippies, and I just didn't. And so I tried, I would wrap it. That's what people used to do back then. I would wrap it up and everything, and it looked horrible because my head, I have an awkward head. Thank God I've got hair to cover up my head, because it needs to be covered. And it just doesn't, it's not shaped well. I don't think my mother turned me over in the crib or whatever. And it got misshaped. And so anyway, the reason I've got this hairstyle, I used to, many years ago, go to like a beauty parlor and get them to cut it. And then when we were going to move to Kenya, and I was going to not have any way to do it, I learned how to cut it on my own. Just a piece here and a piece there and a piece there, and that's what I do. So, okay, let me see. How long, oh, that was Jacob Montgomery. Now, Marek Carr. How long have you and your husband been together? Over 28 wonderful years, and we didn't get started till late. We met when, in 1986, and got married in 88, and so it's coming up May of 88, so about 28 and a half years, I guess. Let me see. Abby Cole, how old were you when you had your kids? Well, because we were so old when we got married. I was 31, he was 34. We started right away because we both wanted 7 kids, and we were so old. We only got 4, but we're so grateful. But anyway, I was 32 when I had my first baby, because I got pregnant 2 months afterwards, after we got married. And then I think when I had Timmy, my last one, I've got 4 kids, I was 37. So now, let me see. Emily Joy, 32. Who is your favorite child? They are always claiming to be my favorite. Every single one of them thinks that they're my favorite, and they all are. In fact, they ask me, and my standard question is, they're always trying to say, I'm your favorite, really, really, secretly, I'm your favorite. And I always say, I have 5 favorites. You're one of my 5 favorites, 5 including Jose. 5 favorite people in the whole world. Okay, Dranglia Uncensored. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your names. I don't know how. Will you be vlogging your journey to LA? Well, of course. Every interesting place that we pass, we're gonna, try to show it. And there we go. So, Hassan Lee, are you still learning to edit, like put music in a video? I was born technically unchallenged. I mean, technically challenged. And it took me years to even learn how to do the computer, and I still only know the basics. You know, thank God I can type, and that's what I do. But and I just learned how to have, I used to have an old people's phone for a long, long time, and my Timmy finally gave me one of his old phones when mine broke, and he forced me into it because I was scared of it. I didn't want it, and I still hardly know how to do anything on it. So I don't edit. I probably never will, but Jose knows the basics, and he's probably going to teach himself more. So there we go. And so he does any editing, any little editing you see. Well, a couple of mine Timmy has edited, but any little editing you see is Jose. Let me see. Nessa 213 Perez. Was it hard to leave your kids in Florida? Well, I haven't left them yet, but they're all grown up. And of course we'll miss them, but you know what? Thank God for technology, because they're only a phone call away or a FaceTime away. And we've kind of prepared our hearts, because recently we've traveled a lot. Like, we would be gone for 2 months at a time and things like that. And of course, God willing, we'll be able to see each other every year at least, and maybe more than once a year, and you know, at Christmas or whatever. But, you know, I got used to having Lexi way across the country, and then Hannah in another part of the country. And now I'm going to be with Lexi, and thank goodness we do travel a lot. So we will be based in LA, but we're going to be traveling still a lot, and we might see each other more than ever. But you know what? It's time for them to grow up and be out on their own, and they are so responsible. So it's no big deal, and they always took care of the house when we were gone anyway. So it's kind of like we've gotten used to it. Okay. Oh, Emily Gonzalez, can you speak a little Spanish? Well, I have to tell you, I love Spanish, and I love all languages, and I wish that I could learn every language, but I am language challenged too. I started learning Spanish in 1983. And I went to intense courses to learn Spanish, because I was going to move, as a single person, I was going to move down to Colombia, South America. And I ended up living there for 7.5 months, and then I moved to Puerto Rico for 1.5 years. But so I went through this intense studies of Spanish, and then I get to Colombia, and it was like I had never studied, because they're going 1,000,000 miles an hour. And it took a long time. By the end of that 7 months, my ears were a little bit adjusted. Then in Puerto Rico, I learned a little, I was able to get more adjusted, but it has taken me all these years. How many years? Since 83, that's a lot of years. I can't do the math right now. But anyway, since 1983, and I've tried and tried, and I would even read the Bible in Spanish, because I wanted so bad to get it into me, and every other word I would be looking up in dictionary. But now I can read without having to look up. Maybe once in a page I'll have to look up a word, if that. I can understand. And now when people are talking, if they're pronouncing well, I can understand, and I can communicate anything, but I make a lot of mistakes. So I will say a little bit. Let me see. ¿Qué quieres que yo diga? That means, what do you want me to say? Mi nombre es Mary Maria. Yo tengo, how old am I? 60 años. I'm 60 years old. A little bit, pero yo sé que yo hago muchos errores cuando yo hablo. But I know that I make a lot of mistakes when I talk. But I would, if I meet you and you know how to speak Spanish, we can talk a little bit. Anyway, what are your thoughts? This is Chelsea S. Horizon. What are your thoughts about Donald Trump winning the election and all that's happening in the U.S.? Well, I have to tell you, I've taken the road of I'm not political. I love people. I love every individual. And to me, what's important is every individual. And I don't want any barriers with anybody. And so I count myself a citizen of heaven. And I love people on both sides, even if they're extreme, I love them. And so I don't talk about politics, and I just pray that God will work it all out. And, you know, I just listen. If people want to vent about their views, I listen. And on the points that I can agree with them, I agree. And I try not to disagree because I don't want barriers. There we go. So, Marcus sorry if I cannot pronounce it, A-J-C-H-E, Adche. How long have you been doing YouTube? Okay, I've been doing YouTube for over 2 years. And Cece Camarillo said something, and Krista O'Connor said basically the same thing, so I wrote them next to each other. Cece Camarillo said, what inspired you to become a YouTuber? And Krista O'Connor Marston said, why did you start your YouTube channel? And okay, I'm going to be really real with you guys right now. Okay, over 2 years ago, it was 2 years in the summer, I went with Timmy to a VidCon, his first VidCon ever, over in LA. And it was like walking into a whole new world. I had zero idea what YouTube was going to be like, what the YouTubers and everything, and what a convention was going to be like. And all of a sudden, my heart just was so touched because there was, all right, you know how much I love my kids. My life is being around, hanging out with my kids and my husband, you know. And when I was out there surrounded by all of these people who were just like my own kids, I just had inside of me grew this huge desire. I just wanted with all my heart just to be able to look each one of them straight in the eye and say, do you know how loved you are by God and by me, and how I would love to be in your life, and I would love to just be able to. And anyway, it sounds creepy, it sounds weird, but it's the truth. And so I came home and my heart was just, I had just been touched so deeply. And I would be praying and saying, God, how can those kids all know how much you love them, you know, and how can, I don't know, I just had this desire to be able just to give what I had to each person, each individual. And so I just felt God say to me, why don't you make a YouTube channel and tell them? And besides that, you know, I have to admit, I loved being on Timmy's channel, you know, and so here we go. The two things worked out together and it all happened. Okay, so Richard Bueno, Mariana. Oh, before I go on, I want to say, no, I'll tell that at the end, sorry. Okay, Richard Bueno, Mariana Banales Richard Bueno and Mariana Banales Zepeda said basically the same thing. Can I meet you? And I would love, as I just expressed, I would love to meet each one of you. And that's why I write to you guys. And if ever you know by a vlog or whatever that we're going to be near you or something, just say, can I meet you? And I'll say, where do you live near this highway? And then, you know, we can work out going to a mall. I've met a couple of my YouTube friends that way. Okay, so Kyra Ford, F-O-A-R-D. What is your absolute favorite junk food to sneakily pig out on? Oh my goodness, so many. I mean, I can't say. There's so many. But in my dreams, because I'm always aware, and then sometimes when I do, I feel just so terrible when I do it. But you know, if that's why we try not to have certain things around, because I don't have that much self-control, and neither does my whole family. I'll have to tell you a little story. Okay, when the kids were growing up, all of us adore foods so much and too much, and I don't know what kind of pigs we are, but that I would buy a carton of ice cream, and everybody wanted so much to have their perfect share that what we would do is, we weren't normal. We're more normal nowadays. But I would peel back the cardboard from the ice cream, the big slab, and then they would all be watching me to make sure that I did it right. I would cut it equally into 6 parts so that each one of us had the same amount. Isn't that terrible? Anyway, but ice cream, candy, potato chips, dip, everything. Okay. And how are you such a happy person? What things this is Anais 3. How are you such a happy person? What things, people, etc. make you such a joyful, funny person? Oh, thank you for saying that I'm funny. I don't know, we've got weird sense of humors in this household. I mean, we laugh at the strangest things. I mean, the stupid kid kind of things make us laugh, like poop, you know, different things. I don't know. And, but I'm joyful because, if you know, I've cried my share of tears, and I've talked about it. You know, I've talked about having gone through things of being rage-filled and everything. But I don't know, you know, each time I've asked God just to grow himself in me and overtake me more and more, and I guess it's his joy. So, okay. Do you have, Julie C., this is last but not least, do you have a secret talent? Yes, I do, and I've done it for you before, and I will do it again. I am very flexible. Oh, my nose is running. And I can put my toes in my mouth. So that's my secret talent. And okay, the last thing I wanted to say, and I will leave you there, is I was reading in a magazine yesterday. I took my friend to her doctor appointment, and so I happened to look at this magazine, and it was all about kids with depression and how this world is becoming so filled with, you know, young people are just so depressed and so filled with anxiety, and the whole world, and there's nothing that can, it's like there's too much technology, can't turn off their world, and it's eating them up. Too much information, right? And anyway, as I was reading it, 2 things happened to me. One thing, my heart bled, because I've gotten to know so many of you guys who are the age group that this is afflicting, you know, and it's like my heart just broke. And the other thing that and I just wanted to be able just to speak into this, you know, the other thing that crossed my mind when I was reading this is because it talked about kids cutting. And I've known a couple kids who have cut, and I could never understand why. But this helped me to understand, and it made it real. It made it hit home to me. Because I used to, I've talked before about how I went through a thing of just tearing my face apart. I hated myself so much that I would be hours in front of the mirror just finding anything I could to pick at until my face was all bloody and raw. And I would cry out, God, have mercy on me and heal my face, even though I don't deserve it and everything, you know. And he has, thank God. But he had to heal my heart first for my face to get healed. But when I was reading that, And they were describing why the kids said that they would cut. It was what used to happen to me with the picking of the face, so I could relate. And what it was, they said that it was not knowing how to deal with all of the stress of this world and the perfection and the all that stuff. And that's exactly, when they were describing it in the magazine, and I wish I could express it better, that's exactly what I had been feeling when I was, it's like I didn't know how to release, and it felt better to be able just to tear up my face, even though afterwards I was just so devastated by what I had done. But it felt better, and so I understood. But you know what? I've been set free, and I'm so grateful, and God had to heal my heart to do it. And so if this subject is something that you guys would like me to talk more about how to overcome, let me know. Write it in the comments or whatever, and I'll think about what to say. Okay. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. We'll have to do this more often. Love you guys. Bye.